Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Monday. It's a game week. We got Clemson this week. I can't believe it. We're gonna have a Final Takes Friday show, and right after that, we're gonna have college football on. So man, it's a big week getting ready. Sark had his press conference today. We also had an availability at practice. Have some updates from practice after I just got back to Spicewood from DKR through all the traffic. Sydir Mitchell is back in the portal. We'll talk about that. Zach Swanson, former Longhorn, had some interesting things to say about a possible matchup with Arizona State, where he now attends school, and Texas. Yeah, man, super weird. We have the new AP All-American list out. We have Sark's press conference from today. So gosh, man, just a bunch to get into, dude. I guess we can just start out with practice. I guess basically what it was just a small little of availability. And what happened was, so Texas has never given us availability in season, right? So I thought it was super duper odd that they would, on a day like today, wherever there's kind of injury concerns about a couple of these guys, namely Isaiah Bond, Kelvin Banks, and Quinn Ewers, that they would let the media in there to, look and see what's going on. But it turns out, I sort of found out when I got up there, I guess the CFP, we've heard, Cody, all this stuff about how the CFP is going to be in charge of some of the kind of ticketing and on-site stuff more so than the school for this game, and they handle some of the some of the whatever, just some of the game day stuff. It's kind of a blend of the school and the CFP, but it's also game week. The CFP says for this week, from what I'm told, for this week, the schools playing in this game have to open up one practice. And I think next week, if Texas wins, they have to open up two practices. Now, one of those might be on site, right? One of those might be on site because I think that they would travel. I don't know what that meant whenever they said that, but one could be on site. It could be like a walkthrough or something that's like open to the media that's already there in I guess or
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Is that where it is?
Yep.
Is that where it would be? Okay. So anyway, that's the story there. And so what Sark did and what Bianco did, they alerted the media at 3 p.m. that the open window was going to be happening at like 3:45. So like it was hard to get down there in time, and it was a very small window that they gave us. But from here's what I've noticed. One, I mean, the biggest thing, I didn't see Isaiah Bond working with the wide receivers. So Kelvin Banks was out there, Quinn Ewers was out there, Isaiah Bond, he might have been out there during other portions of practice. I tend to think he wasn't. Maybe there was somebody else that might have saw him working on the side and stuff like that. But we had a great view of wide receiver drills, and where Isaiah Bond normally lines up, Ryan Wingo was lining up with the first group. Behind him was Parker Livingstone. So that's kind of how that looks with that right now. I think when you kind of compare it to what Sark said earlier today at his press conference, he said earlier that whenever he's talking about Kelvin Banks, so Kelvin Banks, he said that Kelvin was even good last week, and that he held him back more than he wanted to last week, and that Kelvin wanted to go harder. Sark kind of held him back. All this stuff like that. And he says that he's anticipating him, having a good week this week. He said, but they did hold him back last week. And then whenever he was asked about Quinn, it was sort of the same thing, right? He thought he looked good, but they were holding him back out of an abundance of caution last week. When he's asked about Bond today, he said something along the lines of like, I put him in the same bucket as the other guys, right? And then goes on to say, let me just see my notes that I wrote down. The same Bond. Let me just search for Bond here in this thing. So, in the same boat as those guys, as Kelvin and Quinn. And he said he took last week, he shut him down completely. and he's going to do everything in his power to play this week, which sounded a little bit different than what he said about the other guys. And I get to practice today. Kelvin's out there, Quinn's out there. I did not see Bond, so it is what it is. But that's where we are on a Monday. I kind of think he's probably not going to play. If I had to put money on it, I mean, he could come back through the course of the week, but we'll see with the. I guess they don't have to do an injury report for this, do they?
It's not an SEC matchup.
What?
It's not an SEC matchup, so they don't have to.
Yeah, so we could have reports through the week that he's getting out there and he's more involved than he was today during the small media availability that we did have. But that's the update on Bond. He doesn't look as good as Kelvin or Quinn. And here's the good news about Kelvin Banks. I mean that guy looks healthy as can be. I mean, he looks fine. Cody, like I took some video. Can we stick up the video of him? You guys can just kind of see him moving around. I also took another video of him where I tried to kind of zoom in on his ankle, and you can see in that video. And I'm not sure if that's one that we have loaded, but. Yeah, so he doesn't look like he's encumbered in his movements or anything right now. There were some other ones. I took one where it was where I just kind of zoomed in on the ankle, and you can see that he's wearing a brace that looks just like the one that Quinn wore last week. So it's like Quinn, like Kelvin's going to play. Like he's out there, he's running with the first group.
I mean, based on the footage, it would tell me that, like he said, Kelvin probably could have played last weekend. Also, based on them giving you media availability and Kelvin being out there, of course, there's not really I don't want to say this in a negative way, like them showing you that Kelvin's healthy isn't like a big, like, oh, this is a disadvantage for the media to know that Kelvin's healthy. Whereas like Bond, if you know Bond is healthy or isn't healthy, it's kind of a little bit of a different piece because he's obviously the alpha number one wide receiver in the offense in an ideal week. So,
I mean, not having Kelvin is a big deal. I mean,
no, I know I didn't mean it like he wasn't a big deal, but I'm saying like it's not something you game plan. You don't game plan around a tackle. You game plan on defense around a wide receiver. Now you can take advantage of that tackle if it's a backup or a freshman or whatever, but you generally wouldn't game plan around that tackle. Here's the footage of you looking at the ankle.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't even look like it's that big a little air cast or something.
Yeah. In comparison to everybody else, it kind of looks the same. Just tape.
Yeah,
a bigger.
If you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see it. Kelvin's fine. It's like he's totally fine. With Quinn, man, I can't believe some of these people on Orange Bloods what they get offended about, Cody. I just put up a post on there saying, look, we were there for 10, 15 minutes, man. Like, we didn't get to see much. All I got to see was him throwing against air, right? I think we probably have some footage. It's funny. The one that's uploaded in here has got the one time that Quinn makes a bad throw against air. But he did have a bad throw whenever I was out there. But what I wrote is I was like, we have like 3 years of seeing Quinn be really good in practice against air, and he always is. And like, there was nothing different today. He looked great. No inhibited movements, no anything like that. It looked like Quinn Ewers, looked fine. He looked like Quinn, you know what I mean? And the people on the board are saying like, oh, just like an OB mod to take shots at Quinn Ewers, like all this stuff. I'm just like, well, what do you? Oh, that's all I got to see. I didn't get to see team periods. I got to see him throwing against air, and he looked good. He always looks good throwing against air. And they're like, well, you're taking a shot at him. I'm like, well, how am I taking a shot at him? They're saying, though, against air, he looks good. it took me when I was driving home. I was answering some questions when I was at a stoplight, and I just set my phone down and I'm like, I'm not going to respond to this, but like, what does that even? Like, what does that even? It took me a while to figure out what that even means. I guess what he was saying was he's like, you're only saying he's good when he can throw against air and not against a real football situation. It's just people are weird, man.
I replied to one of the guys, and I was like, because he was like, why this? And I was like, it's a well-known thing that Quinn's elite against air and in a camp setting. Would you rather not have a quarterback update? And one of the posters said, I'll play devil's advocate. If it's a well-known thing, then what's the purpose of reporting that since it's not really an update?
Because I was telling him the setting I got to see him in.
I said, here's the thing. That's fair. However, the quarterback in the conversation has been hurt. So I think a report was warranted in some way in that situation, right or wrong. Like the quarterback has a bad oblique and a bad ankle. Kelvin Banks was in the column or in your write-up. Isaiah Bond was in your write-up. Injury. I'm pretty sure reports warranted whatever way. Like if we're telling it, if you're telling people that he looks like he always does, which is good against air, that'd mean he's probably more healthy than he is not. That's how I would perceive that. Not, well, he's taking a shot at, like, people just consume. I mean, also, to be fair, the board right now is rather steamy with the quarterback content. So people are just ready to pounce on anything they can if they're, if it's pro or anti Quinn.
Was there something that was there? What is the steaming stuff?
It's just the last 2 weeks has been
okay.
What the last 2 weeks has been as far as quarterback content. Not that it's not always, but it's like, especially the last 2 weeks with, the thoughts out of the Georgia game, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah. But so I thought he looked good. I think, like, is there any video that I got of Quinn and Arch throwing? You see, that was the one bad throw Quinn had.
Whoops.
Yeah. Well, if you can get some of the other ones uploaded, people might want to see video of him dropping some dimes, dude. Like he had some good throws. Whether I got him on camera or not with my award-winning iPhone technology, who knows? But he looked good. He looks fine. Quinn's going to be fine. I think that I think that. One other thing that I noticed too, that I've just a random off the wall thing, is that Aaron Butler's, like, that guy looks good. He was making some good catches, and he's so fast. It feels like I don't know I don't know, like, we don't talk about that guy, and he hasn't played, you know what I mean? But he's out there at practice, dude. He looks like, I mean, that's a guy that we've sort of forgotten about. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about the Aaron Butlers of the world and stuff coming into spring football. But it feels like he got a little bit kind of left in the dust because he comes in late. He's one of these recruitments. It's kind of weird. It's after the second signing day, and he never set foot on campus before he committed here, and no one knew who he was and all that. But today, I'm just like, golly, man, that guy's making some big catches, and he is so fast. He's really good getting in and out of his breaks. So, that was the main thing. Just kind of having to keep an eye on Kelvin Banks, having to keep an eye on Quinn, finding out if Isaiah Bond's level of activity, which today, from what I could tell, was certainly he would have been out there during that. If he was able to go, they would show us that he's going. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're just gonna have to keep monitor that, and then. Just one little throwaway thing. I thought that Aaron Butler looked really good, and he's just somebody that I've never really noticed him in practice before. So
his highlight matriculated on X, I think about a week ago or 5 days ago or so, and I was like, oh yeah. So hopefully this doesn't go the way of the portal. Hopefully Butler is one that can be maybe not featured next year, but at least utilized in special teams or as an auxiliary or something. And I mean, because this dude's got some sick sick wiggle, and they'd love to see him play. So I'm glad that you saw some positivity at practice.
Yeah. So that's those are the practice updates. We also did have Sark today. With the AP All Americans list. We have dude, have you seen this thing about Mike Norvell having to pay back like $4.5 million of his salary?
I saw him paying back over $4 million. 1 second.
Are they gonna like start doing this? Because it feels like they tried to do a shakedown with Gundy, and I think Brian Kelly had to do something where he had to match some kind of NIL donation of like $1 million.
Did you read it? Did you read what it said? Because I didn't read it. Sorry, the dog came in here and completely interrupted this whole thing. But did you read it? And was it part of like an NIL structure, or was it because he lost, or did you read what the reasoning was? Because I just saw it come across today and I didn't dig into it.
Oh, you know how things go in today's society. You see a headline fly by on X, and you're just like, "What is this?" Like, no, I figured it's probably. I mean, I probably should have looked into it more. I figured that you might have, but I don't know. Like, it feels like I've seen. It feels like they've tried to shake down Gundy for this stuff. They've tried to shake down Brian Kelly to some degree for this stuff. It feels like a little bit of a shakedown whenever your guy's coming off of a season that's disappointing, to get some money back out of him, to say, hey, dude, if you need to get better players to win games, like let's have you pony up some.
Okay, so here's what I'm reading. It says Norvell had agreed to restructure a contract that includes a one-time $4.5 million contribution that will launch the athletic department's Vision of Excellence campaign. The campaign, in partnership with Seminole Boosters, looks to immediately raise FSU athletics to new heights and provide the best resources for student athletes across all sports. The specific details regarding Norvell's restructured contract were not immediately available, but he will have the ability to earn back his contribution through performance incentives. Norvell, who is the sixth highest paid coach, makes around $10 million. So essentially, he's donating $4.5 million to their NIL fund, and he has the ability to make it back if they win.
What if they won this year? Think they're going to make him donate that money?
I think they probably give him a couple more dollars instead of take away his dollars.
They asked Sark to donate five.
To be fair, would they win 2 games?
I know. Well, but he's got a giant buyout and all the rest of it. Like, they can't fire him. They're trying to get it's like what they did with Gundy. They're saying like, we need more NIL money. Clearly, you were bad last year. Let's try and do something about it. You want the team to be better, right? Like, look, donate this money. It'll be a big donation. People will look at you. You'll be able to always say, once you turn this thing around, and listen, Mike, we know you're going to turn this thing around. We're always behind you. We're a big family here. And hey, if you guys win next year, we're going to put in some performance incentives. You get to 8 wins, you get 1.5 of it back. You get to 9 wins, you get 3 of it back. If you get us up to 10 wins, like we know you're capable of, new quarterback, all the rest of it, like we're gonna get you back good on this. Of course.
And guess what? If you lose,
but it's a total shakedown. Like, I wonder if it's like, and look, far be it from me to feel pity about these college coaches. I mean, you get paid all this money. It's like, whatever. Look, it's the free market. It's the two. I mean, the market is what the market is. It's like, whatever. But they get paid a ton of money. You could quibble over whether or not they're worth it. Just from a pure, like labor sort of, you know what I mean? Like, is their labor really worth that much? Especially with the coach like this that's losing. I mean, I get it, but it just feels like it sets a kind of weird It feels like it sets a kind of weird precedent that you could be shaken down like this when you're kind of at a low point as a coach. I guess he'd prefer that to being fired.
When you're one of the top 5 highest paid coaches, though, and you perform at bottom 5 result in the sport after getting the extension, I get it's better than being. It's not better than being fired because then you get all that money, but you have to think about it from that perspective. Is that, well, think about it. If you would have went hypothetically 13-0 again, he's probably getting like another year or two added onto that extension, right? He's probably going to become the highest paid coach in football and not the fifth highest paid coach in football, right? So
And not have to be the founding member of some collective with 4.5 million of his own
some
cash.
BS thing. He's like, yeah, my 4.5 million is going after this quarterback. That's supposed to be putting food on my table. Instead, I'm giving to some kid.
Or earning interest in my bank account, or like,
Yeah.
earning money for me in the markets that I'm paying this lady all this money to do. It's just wild to me. It's like, I think about that, and I think about how wild it is that we have our own beef jerky. It's just, we really have it. And I think that we're probably coming right up against the time, especially with how Darren kind of works on
I would say get it into there tomorrow.
Darren works on what I call like island time, right? You ever been down to Jamaica, Cody, or you been to
Not Jamaica, but Florida's pretty dang close as far as
yeah, maybe down in the Keys, or what's
timing
that
wise.
place, or like the Bahamas? Dude, I love the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But like, I went to there this summer, and I even went to like a kiddie place, this place Atlantis, with all the water slides and stuff. Even a spot like that, you find beautiful, beautiful beaches. But dude, the people down there, they're like, relax, man, like you're in the Bahamas. You know what I mean? It's like Darren's a little bit like that. So I will get the beef jerky orders in now. They are straight from Mason, Texas. We have the two. Blends right there. We have the cowboy blend, and we have the jalapeno garlic. I prefer the jalapeno garlic. I'm not sure if that's good to say one way or the other, but I'm being honest with you. It's my preference. I think they're both great, but I think the jalapeno garlic is maybe, I don't know, man. Like, my son thinks it's maybe a little bit less spicy. Even though it would seem like it would be the spicier one. Any way that you get it, it's an elite meat snack. It's going to be great for your family and friends to have as a stocking stuffer. You support us by getting it. It is Football with Friends beef jerky with Texas Beef Traders. Tasty as hell. Cody and I's signature blends. Make sure and go get them, and make sure and check out Texas Beef Traders. Go into the shop, man. It's the holiday time. Nobody wants to have one of those turkeys unless you do it like my neighbor Mo did it, where he did it with the where he deep fried it. That was delicious turkey that my brother Mo made and brought over to me on Thanksgiving Day. But
Sounds pretty good.
if you can't fry it like Mo and RFK and everybody else does, you got to get some beef. Like, get a standing rib roast or something. Go to Texas Beef Traders. You get 10% off. It's straight from Mason, Texas, all natural, no hormones, no steroid injections, no antibiotics, certainly no mRNA vaccines, no vaccines, period. You're starting to see a lot of that stuff creep in, especially if you buy it at the store. It's coming from Argentina or something like that. It can say made in the USA, and all that means is product of USA. All that means is that they processed it. They're down in San Antonio at the HEB distribution plant. That's all. So go to Texas Beef Traders, support local ranchers, support a local business, and let them know that you heard about them here on Football with Friends. It's an experience unlike you'll ever have at another butcher shop. You get 10% off. And if you can't make it in, call up there, talk to Darren, get your 10% off, tell him where you live. He'll bring it to your house for free. It's like the TexasBeefTraders.com. Okay. Let's see here. We have people fighting in the chat about Arch Manning. I see Grandpa Archie has come out saying he hopes Arch stays 3 seasons. Arch hasn't proven anything yet, says Christopher something. Oh, Arch has proven some things. Arch has proven he's proven he can win. He can win in the SEC against the worst team in the SEC, but he certainly looked like he's belonged.
Alex, off topic, because I know I don't want to get into a wormhole there. If Prize Picks has a line for Isaiah Bond and he doesn't play, or because he's got one game this year with 0 snaps, do you think he'll, like, if he plays like 10 snaps, will they honor these numbers?
What if they reboot him?
Yeah, like if he plays, if he starts the game and he doesn't technically like go out with an injury, like say he's just like on a limited snap count, like
they're not going to reboot him if he doesn't.
He's probably going to be limited, right? If he plays.
Does he have numbers up?
He does.
For what?
2.5 receptions, 30.5 receiving yards.
I would take the unders.
And 17.5 longest reception.
Okay, well, I mean, what I would do is I
That's what
mean,
I'm saying. Like, but based on your analysis today from practice, and the given conversation in the press conference from Sark, I would say he's probably going to be limited if he plays.
um, yeah, I mean, I would if you're not and look, I don't know if he practiced today or not. At some point, he was not with the wide receivers running drills
Correct.
during their route combo sessions. Um, so there's a question somebody has about which quarterback to start. I mean that all have a strong opinion on. But there's if he wasn't out there for that, that's like he's not out there for Monday practice.
So over the course of, since the Oklahoma game, Bond played 21 snaps, which was 33%. Then he played 47, and then 0 against Vandy, 28 snaps against Florida, 41 against Arkansas, 39, and 36, which was all hovering around that 50% threshold, 45, 59, 50, 48. And now he gets what was the Georgia game? Because the Georgia game you don't have as far a part of this.
As what a part of
percentages. Participation.
Oh, you can look at the where's the route participant the I don't know where I put that one. I don't keep everything as organized for the
I can tell. It's all good. Doesn't matter. I don't think he played as many snaps. I think he was probably still around that same area, if not lower. So maybe, but I feel like it'll be.
But if you pick but if you take the less on Prize Picks, and I think mainly what's going to happen is that your entry will get void because he's just not going to play.
Yeah, I think he'll play, but I think my question was if you think they'll honor it if he plays, but doesn't actually like go out with an injury, but we know he's limited. It's kind of like a Galaxy thought, where like you know he's going to play at least a little bit, but he's probably not going to get a lot.
I think I would just stay away.
I was just thinking about taking the under on 2.5 receptions because I feel like 3 receptions would pretty much make him be at least a focal point or tell us he's at least healthy. Like I feel like 2.5 is just
three receptions. Hopefully, is not a focal point for the offense. That would
I mean, but like as far as like making him a focal point, like if he's going to hit 3, he's going to hit 5. You know what I'm saying? But I think more than likely he's going to maybe be 1 or 2.
Jose Rodriguez, he says, good evening, just start one, sit one, drop one. I mean, Drew Brees, Sam Ehlinger, Cade Klubnik to win 1 high school football game. Are you kidding me? I picked Drew Brees to win every high school football game. Every one.
Ever lose?
I don't think so. No. I think I guess you would have had to have. No, because Johnny came back in Drew's junior year. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong about this, and I know if Johnny's watching, right? I doubt Johnny's watching, but if he's watching right now, he'll definitely hate me if I get this wrong. So, but my memory of what happened my sophomore year, Drew's junior year, because I was only on scout team that year, and I only got moved up to varsity for the playoffs as a sophomore to run the scout team, right? But my memory of that was Drew, like Johnny was the starter. And Drew came in once he got hurt. And then Drew wins all the games. Johnny comes back from injury. And I think Johnny in his first game back from the injury lost that playoff game.
So
and then we went 16-0 my junior year, Drew's senior year, to win the state the 5A Division II championship versus Abilene Cooper. Even though that wasn't the toughest game was against Aldine down in the old Astrodome.
I was gonna say it looks like you guys beat them by 40 in that championship game. It says the wiki says the Westlake beat the Dominic Rhodes led Abilene Cooper 55.
Yeah.
But
I got a hat on Dominic Rhodes in that game, dude.
Breeze started for 2 seasons, and his record at Westlake was 28-0-1.
So he had a tie in there.
Do you remember a tie in 2 seasons?
Maybe there was a tie when he was a junior, but like I said, when he was a junior, I was a sophomore, and I wasn't on varsity until like my JV season got done, and they just picked me to go to the varsity scout team. So
gotcha.
But yeah, man, it's like all that guy does is win high school football games. I don't even have to like. I'll bet you Sam's was probably kind of like that, and Cade's was probably kind of like that too. But like that guy just doesn't lose. Like it's like Drew
He was
Drew 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 don't lose, man. Yeah.
Cade was 30-0 as well.
Okay. Well, Cade, I guess Cade don't lose either. But I've seen Drew with my own two eyes.
Let me see what let me type in Sam Ellingers here, see if they have it up
Okay.
as easy to find as those two were. I'm not seeing a record
Cade,
offhand.
gosh, Cade was it's gonna be hard, dude. I can't believe Texas has to play Cade in DKR this weekend. Not saying not saying I'm super worried about it, but just for, it's gonna be a lot of conflicted people. It's like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of conflicted Westlake kind of horns. You know what I mean? It's
Westlake made the championship this week, right?
it's a tough scene. Yeah, well, they beat North Shore.
So they're going back to the title this week, right? Against Crowley.
Think
Crowley
so.
beat Duncanville.
Yeah, and that was that. I think that was on. That was on Saturday. Yeah. So Westlake,
John
dude,
Turntine beat Duncanville.
good player. They got a good running back too. Is that the one that we're always talking about? Is that Javion Osborne?
No,
no. Wait. He's Forney, right?
Yeah, he's Forney.
Okay. Who's the North Crowley running back?
Is he a 26 kid?
I'm not sure. He's good. I'm not sure. Someone in the chat will let us know who that guy is.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting, man. So
that's crazy though that Duncanville would get beat with Keelan Russell and DeCorian.
Yeah,
it seems wild.
All roads go through Westlake, man. Go Shaps, man, for sure. Just did you see any of the Zach Swanson stuff?
Yeah, he's fourth on his own team in snaps right now at defensive tackle. He's got 2 tackles since Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not here to bash on the guy. I'm
not either. I'm just being honest.
So we have the North Crowley. So okay, Drew Cagle saying North Crowley RB is going to SMU. He's a 4-star. That's a good player.
Jonathan Cunningham's also at Crowley. I didn't realize that. Cornelius Warren is the running back. Is that the running back? He's going to UNLV. He's a 170-pounder.
That doesn't sound like his. I would think I would recognize it, and that doesn't sound like it.
Okay, well, that's a 2025 kid they have. I'll look.
They got a 2026.
I'll look at 26. So 25 kid, 26 kids better than 25 kid. That'd be kind of rad.
I'm not sure.
The 25 kid's going to.
It could be that guy. I don't know. It could be that guy.
You remembered him if he was tiny. And this guy's pretty small, 170-pound running back.
No, you can't tell sometimes with these high schoolers. You know what I mean? It's it's a little hard sometimes. I don't know. Someone in the chat will know. But I thought the most interesting thing about Zach Swanson is how he said, and Anwar asked a question today in the press conference about how the conversations, the transfer portal conversations, how they play out, and what he's like, what's different from player to player and all this. And I've always just kind of thought it was something that would be handled with care, or to a certain degree, kind of handled like that. But you also know it's like anytime you peek behind the curtain with stuff like this, you learn how the sausage is made. Like some of these situations. I mean, some of this can be pretty transactional, and it sounds like this guy just got straight processed. He's still tilted by it. He says the worst thing that ever happened in his life. He said, like, I've been here for 2 years. I got a girlfriend. I made all these friends. I've uprooted my life. This is my plan. I'm from out of state. Like, I come here and I bring me in there and they tell me, hey man, like you're never going to play here. And if you want to stay here at Texas, it's okay, but you should probably just focus on school. But if you want to play, you should transfer somewhere else. And I'm sitting there like just dope face, just like what just happened? He hates Texas over this. And that's clearly the reason why they it's the reason why they wanted to interview him, because they're not interviewing this guy because he's has 2 tackles since Halloween. You know what I mean? This is a good thing from Money B. It's not that does sound like something Bo Davis would have said. You know what I mean?
So Texas just catches the stray off of Bo.
Off the LSU defensive coordinator or the LSU defensive line coach.
Bo tells him to take a hike, and then Bo dips.
Yeah. Look,
it's probably like, not wrong.
Sark said at his press conference today, something along the lines, I forget exactly what he said, but it was something. It was something like, it's always their decision. Like it can't be our decision. And we've talked about that before. It's like, how many is it allowed to because it comes into the whole conversation that we've had about like, okay, if
can you cut them, can you not?
Yeah, can you cut these guys? If you got what's his guy? I can't believe I'm already blanking on his name. The South Carolina guy is the Dylan Stewart.
Dylan Stewart, yeah.
Yep. Who's sick, right? But like that was the conversation today, that he had the news come out that he'd agreed to do a 1-year deal with South Carolina for next season to stay. And we're just like, wait, so like he's saying he can just leave and all this stuff, and we got to do a year-to-year deal with this guy. And next year it's going to be $2.5 million or whatever. Like at some point, can the coach say like, all right, well, like you haven't been good, like you're cut, and we kind of said like, well, it probably can't work like that. And what Sark had said today is clearly like, it has to be their decision. It can't be our decision. If it was their decision, guys like Max Merrill and stuff wouldn't be on the roster right now.
Well, that's probably why it's phrased like it was to Swanson. It's like, hey, if you want to play, it's probably not going to happen here, but hey, you're welcome to stay and get a degree. And then that puts him in a spot where he's like, I'm not going to play, but I can stay and get a degree. F this, I'm leaving. And then it's like a, psychology a little bit there. It's like reverse psychology where you're like, we want to cut you, but we can't cut you. So cut yourself. Bye.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just, I'm just saying that, Sark has a real diplomatic way of saying it. And I do think probably Sark is the figurehead. When he gets into conversations with these guys, he's probably a little bit more delicate than this guy. Like whenever I was hearing what Zach Swanson was saying, Money B brings up a good point. I hadn't thought about Bo Davis, but I'm like, that had to be somebody other than Sark. Feels like he has to be more diplomatic.
I don't think Sark would do. Yeah. I mean, was Swanson a part of his first class?
We was here for
2022.
So I guess first true class.
Sark's first proper class. Yeah, because the first one wasn't his proper class, right? So
yeah.
I don't think Sark would recruit somebody and then tell him that, I don't think he'd be just straight up dick to him. Yeah.
Right. No, I get that. Do you think how do you think that the negotiations went with Sydir Mitchell? They went exactly like I told you. Exactly like I told everybody on Final Takes that they were going to go, or they had gone, or what it was, to where Sydir Mitchell had Texas in the weirdest spot. The weirdest, like the stone nut low for Texas in the weirdest spot, because you're in a situation where there's a guy who has, regardless of whether you say he was, he's from the guy's from New Jersey. Try moving from New Jersey to Texas and playing in the heat and all that, and just the difference in everything. Like it's different. So you can say he's homesick. I think that's fine for if you're a freshman. I think it's fine if you have extra like baby fat and stuff if you're a freshman and they need to get you in shape. The reason they recruited you is because they see you as a piece of clay that they can mold. Like it's their job to do the molding at that point. And it's like, it's not like a guy's going to be a total bust because of all this, right? And then you get to his second season at Texas, this past season, and you get into a spot where you're like, okay, now we have a situation where it's it's now not just the freshman like jitters, right? It's not just this stuff. It's not just the baby fat. It's not just the homesickness. It's not just being a little out of shape and stuff. It's like a little bit of maybe work ethic kind of things, on off switch kind of things, the um, frustrating the coaching staff because they can see his potential, but he's inconsistent. These kinds of things, right? The kinds of things to where, like, if you're a human, these are the kinds of feelings towards somebody that you can kind of anchor yourself to and kind of be hard to shrug off. You know what I'm saying? To where they gotta try to really show you something to be like, dude, it's been compounding and compounding and compounding and compounding. It's been issue after issue with this guy. Like it's just like it never stops with this guy. And then you get to a spot where it's like halfway through the season, starting in like, which game was that? Florida, where
I think Florida was the best game, right?
Yeah, he gets in there. He's like plays like 10 snaps. I think he has a solo tackle and a run stuff that causes a TFL. He looks different than anybody out there. He's so much bigger than everybody else. You look at him, you're like, whoa, gosh, look at that defensive line right now. It just looks different than any other group that they can put out there. And it's like Alfred Collins is small. It's just like, whenever 90's in there, it looks bigger. He just looks bigger than the rest. And so you then maybe 2 weeks later, you have Sydir Mitchell playing again, and he's playing more. And now all of a sudden, Savea doesn't even play, right? Now it's just Alex January, and it's Sydir Mitchell once you get past your top four of course, Broughton, Collins, Lole, Norton, right? It's like those are the two that would come in, as opposed to the Aaron Bryants, who is now gone, as opposed to the Savea, who looks like he's now gone. Although Coach Sarks did say that he's going to play during the playoff.
Him and Finkley, right?
Well, Finkley, we could have you could set a clock to that. Like, I wasn't sure if they were going to allow it, because Arizona State's not allowing it, right? If you're going to transfer, Dillingham saying, and it's kind of smart, and we'll get back to Sydir. We sometimes take circuitous routes here on the show. But what Dillingham was saying about that is he had a kind of smart idea, right? He's like, how can I get guys locked in and locked up? And he's like, all right, if you're going to go on this journey with us and you're going to take this step with us, like, we want you to be part of the team, and we don't want people going through this with us who are just going to be set to be out. That's not the focus that we want people having during this time whenever we're going into this journey. He said, it's kind of a sneaky thing because it's kind of like he's locking dudes in that might have a little bit of a wandering eye and giving him an ultimatum, right? On the other hand, though, what he can say is just like, but it's also for your own good, because we want you to be able to find your best landing spot. We care about you, and to find your best landing spot, things are going to be all swindled up by the time our run is over. Now is when teams are looking for guys. Now is when you can strike while the iron's hot with NIL. Later on, there could be not as much NIL money as free flowing, which I don't necessarily think is true. A lot of times, desperation makes the money more free flowing. And if a team is desperate after the first NIL initial surge goes through, and then somebody comes available later, somebody at a position they might have missed on the first time, now you're a market of one, right? Or a market of just a few. So I don't necessarily think it's true, but see, so that's what Dillingham's doing. I know that just. We could have told you, like, it would have been the easiest thing in the world to say, dude, if they're going to allow it, Finkley's going to play, because Finkley didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave. That was a gut-wrenching thing for him. He's got his mom on X saying, like, you can see with the outpouring from Texas fans why we love Texas so much. Like, this support we've all, like, they love Texas. But he's just like, he wasn't going to play.
Hopefully he ends up somewhere good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I tell you something about Arizona State? So this is just kind of off the wall, but you brought up the quarterback thing. I don't know what you saw in the chat earlier. You said you wanted to answer it, something about quarterbacks, but bringing up Arizona State. So this is something I heard this weekend. So I went to a Christmas party on Saturday, And one of the guys that was there, that fiance works with Stephanie, he went to Arizona State. He's got 12 tickets to go to this Arizona State Peach Bowl game that Texas could hypothetically go to if they beat Clemson. He told me that he doesn't want to play Texas. Obviously, people don't want to play Texas, a better team, but he said he doesn't want to play Texas because he's afraid that Arch will play in that game because Quinn won't look good against Clemson. And like, this was his real thought. He really, and it was weird for me because obviously we talk about this every single day. We read about
like dog.
and he brings up and he goes, dog, I really think, and like, he didn't know that I do this. He didn't know, any of this.
You're like, dude, you're like, dude, you just walked into a hornet's nest here, brother.
He knows I do fantasy football stuff, but he has no idea I do anything with Texas. So I go, that's not going to happen. So, and he goes, no, I'm really worried that, they're going to bench Quinn and they're going to bring in Arch. Arch is going to start the game against Arizona State. So I really think that, that's our only opportunity to lose. Otherwise, I really like Arizona State, and it's obviously his alma mater and stuff, but I just wanted to throw that in there because I thought that was really weird that, like, there are people on the outside looking in going, man, they really might bench Quinn and play Arch. And it's like, at this stage of the game on December 16th, like, I can't believe that's actually still a thought, but that's an Arizona State thought for you from someone that's actually going to the game and is an alma mater to Arizona State. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It would make sense for an outsider looking at it. Just doesn't understand that it's like Sark's not going to do it. It's just not. Yeah. It's crazy to talk. It's like it's not worth talking about. I think what's worth talking about is a more expanded package for Arch Manning. I think even if Quinn's in there looking great, just dude, get it. It's what we always talk about. Just get him in there to where it's like give him a route attached to these run concepts. Make it not be where it's just quarterback power or quarterback, like these quarterback sweeps where they just do the outside zone stuff. Just like have a route attached to it. Have like a hot read attached to it. And if he sees it, have him throw a pass and hit somebody. And then next thing you know, you have the opposing sidelines really, really, really starting to shrivel up. I mean, you know what I mean? They're starting to shrivel up, pucker up, all kinds of stuff over there. Because they're like, now, well, see, this is a wrinkle that we weren't ready to see. And how much are they going to keep doing this? And how much are we going to deviate from the other plan? It would get like that could be something that could really help. That could help spark drives. So I can see that.
Did you see did you see Sark go on Dan Patrick? I think or not Dan Patrick. Sorry, Rich Eisen. I think on like Wednesday.
Rich Eisen, man, I think he's starting to get a little cockamamie in his older
Rich
age.
Eisen.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't listen to Rich Eisen daily, but if Feldman's on, I'll listen. If Sark goes on, I'll listen. If some coach I want to listen to goes on, if Jeremiah's on there, very select few go on there, I'll listen. But Sark went on there last week, and of the 10-minute segment, Eisen said, "What do you think about the famous thought of if you got one quarterback,
yeah."
What the hell's the thing? If you got one quarterback, you're good. If you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks.
You got no quarterbacks, and he goes respectfully. I totally disagree. We have two really good ones.
Yeah, and then he just kind of went on to the next topic. But I thought that was cool that Sark kind of just like nipped it, bang, done. Like he's like, respectfully, we got two, and we're doing pretty good.
I think what bothers me about Rich Eisen is like he thinks he's in the media, so he matters.
Correct.
He thinks you like. I'm just like. I mean, I'm not naive.
He thinks he's like Pat McAfee. I think.
No. I mean, here's the thing. Even Pat McAfee, man. Like, I don't think the media really matters. I don't think any of it does.
What do you mean?
It's like football would still be around if like he says this stuff like. You got to understand, as somebody sitting in my chair, this is you hear this and this and this. And if I was Sark, I would just be thinking to myself, who cares about who sits in your chair? It doesn't even like, and I work in media. I think there's a place for it. I mean, it's entertaining. It's fun. I mean, we got 1,000 people in here watching right now. I mean, I get that people like to talk about football and engage with each other and stuff, but it's like, I don't know. Isn't that pretty high opinion of yourself to just to say like, Make a dude answer a question to say like, well, from my chair, the way I see things is like, well, if I'm Sark, I'm saying, why do I care about what the cockamamie journo has to say?
I think I see where your point's coming from. I think Rich Eisen has this innate thing, though. I mean, he does work for the Shield, right? He works for NFL Network, and he does the combine, he does the all that crap. So I think he may be in a weird spot because he has his own show, obviously, and works for the Shield, and he may think he's kind of the one of the overarching, kind of like McAfee, where like they are the media, like they're not the real media, which is like all the journos and stuff and the people on Twitter every day sharing the, the good word from, daily opportunities and media availabilities, but they're the big mouth, I guess you'd say, of the space.
Yeah, I was look. I'm and like look, I think McAfee's great. I'm not saying
No,
it.
I love McAfee, and
I'm
I
not
like,
saying it doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't. I think like I actually highly enjoyed McAfee. I
yeah.
think I I started watching Game Day again because of that dude. Right. I mean,
Speaking of
he's
which, he had Belichick on today. You should go listen to it.
okay. The I don't listen to his radio show, but I think he's great on great on Game Day. Nothing against him. Nothing against really any of these. Like maybe something a little bit against Eisen. I think he's just a kind of cockamamie man.
He's old.
Yeah. Um. Okay. What else? So anything from? Oh, dude, we have NFL in like 7 minutes. Did you put in Prize Picks?
Yeah, we got a double header, a double donker here.
So I put in a couple, but I want to put in yours too because I had a tough weekend. I'm starting to do this stuff where it's starting to be Christmas, and so I'm having to start doing some withdrawals from the money I've made this year, and I want to get. I just made one last night, and I want to get the money back into the account. So I need to get. I need to hit on some Prize Picks tonight.
All
I know
right,
you did. I know you did a show earlier today for roster watch, and I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to
tap in.
watch it. Yep.
So here's what I had on my pick slip earlier. So I took Cole Kmet's 2.5 receptions. I think he's had 3, 6, and 3 the last 3 games. I think
2.5. It's sitting at 3 right now because I was thinking about it earlier. Gosh, I
missed
hate
out.
it when that happens.
Caleb Williams, 220 passing. The last time these two teams played in Chicago, both Caleb and Sam Darnold threw for 320 plus. So I took Caleb at 220. I altered Sam Darnold's line down to 239 from 259. What is it at now for you?
226.5
Wait, that's the proper line or is that the juicy line?
proper.
Oh, that's Caleb. I was talking about Darnold. Okay, so Caleb I got at 220. Okay. So I got Caleb at 220. I got Sam Darnold at 239. Again, like I said, I altered the Darnold line down to 239 because if you hit that, he's hit that in like borderline every single game. The 250 marker was a touch high for me.
All I'm getting on Darnold is 224.5 for the Demon.
Yeah, I got the 239 on underdog. I got Van Ginkel on defense for a sack. Van Ginkel has not had a sack in the last 2 games, but before that, he cranked out, I think, 3 straight games. He's got 9.5 on the season. Ooh, they're offering you a 0.25. He's got 2 pick sixes on the season. He's a manimal, and this is primetime football. And then I got Bowers at 66.5, which gets him exactly. So they set this number at 66.5 for Bowers tonight. He's 67 yards away from 1,000.
He's at 59.5 right here.
Oh, I better put another entry in.
God, but dude, this is a 4-way that only hits me 5.5x because of all these puny little things, man.
That's okay. Cash on me, straight cash on me.
You
We got to get right this weekend. We got to get some. We got to get.
You like Bowers tonight, more, even with Desmond Ridder throwing the football.
I feel like what's the matter with that? I mean, look who's been throwing the football all year. It's not acting like it's been a special, overarching, goat or something.
All right, I'll go with this one. I'll show you the one that I put in earlier. You can tell me what you think of this. The one I put in earlier, I'm not going to remember it, but here it is. So this was a 5 pick to win 495. So I put in DeAndre Swift less than 50.5 rushing yards.
I hate lesses. Let's do it though.
I put in Jacoby Myers higher than 5.5 receptions. Will Reichert higher than 1.5 field goals made because Will Reichert's kicking points is now moved up to 7.5 as opposed to 7.
Your field goal last night. Oh, I got Reichert at 6.5 on Friday on our nice.
You
All
got
right.
him at 7 on Friday.
Didn't I
It
get him?
wasn't 6.5. It was at 7.
Was it 7? Okay.
Yeah, but I figure for Reichert to get to 7.5, that he has to get to 8, which means he's going to need 2 field goals to get there.
Correct.
Right? He's not going to score 1 field goal on 5. They're not this score. I don't think Minnesota's going to score 38 points exactly in this game, which would need to be 5 extra points and 3 and 1 3-point field goal. So I think 1.5 field goals. Aaron Jones higher than a 14.5 fantasy score. That's how you beat these guys. And we know Cam Akers stinks. And then for Caleb Williams, I just said if DeAndre Swift is going to get less than 50.5, I think that means they've shut down the running game, because we know that his Roschon been declared out.
Oh yeah, Roshan's out. I think it's
So
Homer.
to be Travis Homer, it's like they're not going to get anything. Like I just said, if Caleb Williams, I don't know if he's going to have success or not, but 34 attempts to me, you look, it was like 47 attempts the last time these two guys faced off.
Correct.
So 34 attempts.
He's been throwing the hell out of the football too.
And I'm actually going to make another one where I'm taking out Jacoby Myers. I'm going to do that right now. So what did I just say it was? So it's because I don't want Jacoby. I do not want him screwing this up, and I can see things going to hell in a handbasket
because of the quarterback.
Yeah. So Swift and then Reichert,
Caleb and Aaron Jones
for more than 1.5 field goals, and then Aaron Jones. This is a total game script type of move here. What did I say? 14.5 fantasy points? Yeah.
Correct.
And then Caleb for 34.5 passing attempts. Dang, dude. So they're kind of giving me some hell here at 9. They're giving me 9x as opposed to 10, but because I correlated this thing so well.
It's all right.
All right, see if I can make a quick 225 on that one in case the other one doesn't hit. Submit lineup. All right. So that'll be good. Anything else you want to talk about, Cody, before we get out of here? Do you have any columns coming up tomorrow? What are we going to talk about tomorrow?
Yeah, I do have my behind the enemy lines. I was gonna post up this morning, but I was kind of waiting on Catch to put up his 10 thoughts from the weekend. I'm not sure if he's gonna get that posted up or not. So I'm gonna get mine up either late tonight or at the crack of dawn. Mike, we didn't cover this. I know we only got we don't got any time. That's all right.
No, we got no time, but we do have to thank our friends over at Specs.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs.
Now, you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can follow the new Football with Friends Twitter that Cody made. What is that, Cody? At FWF_OB. Is that it? So at FWF_OB. You can find Cody on X at Cody Carpentier. I'm at Alex Dunlap. NFL, all our content for the Longhorns over at orangebloods.com, our fantasy football, NFL draft, DFS, all that stuff over at Roster Watch. Please like the show, subscribe to the channel. Thanks you guys so much for being here, for continuing to help the show grow. It's grown so much, and it's because of you guys that are here in the chat. We love all y'all. And make sure we didn't miss any super chats here at the very end, nothing like that. Okay. Love you guys, man. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching this on Tuesday morning, have a great Tuesday, dude. Go out and do something big today. All right. Thank you for being here. Love you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.